We will discuss lexical ambiguity now. Lexical ambiguity is the type of ambiguity in which single word may be interpreted to have more than one meaning. Lexical ambiguity is a process, or it refers to the presence of two or more meaning in a single word. It can also be referred to as semantic ambiguity, since it relates to the confusion of meaning, and also homonymy. We all know that homonymy is about two words having similar pronunciation and similar words spellings, such as a word bank, B-A-N-K. A bank can mean a building where you put your money, or a river bank, edge of river. So these multi-defined words, they can cause a lot of ambiguity, and it is the responsibility of a speaker or a writer to make sure that the context in which these words are expressed, that context needs to be explained. Then there are words which express closely related concepts. For example, a word good. It can be expressed as expressing a sense of feeling related to pleasing or pleased feeling, as if in the context of she feels good, or usefulness, it's a good hammer, or something to do with the quality, as I said, a good hammer. Then another form through which lexical ambiguity arises is through prefixes and suffixes. For example, a word unlockable. Now, it could mean the ability of being unlocked, or it is impossible to lock. So, therefore, we can have lots of manners through which these lexical ambiguities are caused, and it is primarily the responsibility of the writer and the speaker to make sure that the context and situations are fully explained, so that the ambiguity or the chances of ambiguities are eliminated. Now let's consider some of the examples of lexical ambiguity. Rapid writing with his uninjured hand saved from loss the contents of the capsized canoe. So most people hear the second word as writing, presumably because it is a more common meaning, or it has more common meaning, and moreover, when they read this sentence, nothing in this sentence refutes this interpretation until you get to the very end. Subjectively, the impression that you capture on a single meaning at the outset and carry it through until we discover the error. But do these experiments actually cover our subjective impression? Now, there's another example which you can see in the terms of the man started to drill before the truck arrived. Considering the response time, this is the understanding behind this example, is to take into account the response time. Now, the response times to monitor the first phoneme of the very next word, here verb in before, increase ever so slightly by about 50 milliseconds after an ambiguous word. Foss actually attributed that this result is to the process of activating more than one meaning of an ambiguous word. Then we have the dominance or frequency of usage. Now, this is another aspect of lexical ambiguity, and which needs our attention. Some have multiple meanings and are roughly equivalent to the frequency. Now, looking at these two, we will discuss. For example, Pogobomb Hogobom and Perfetti they constructed sentences with ambiguous word in which either the primary or the secondary meaning of the word was appropriate. For example, the word letter. It contains two different meanings. First is, which the primary is a note sent by some person to another, which is the postal meaning, or an element of the alphabet, which is the alphabet meaning. So, a sentence which is the jealous husband read the letter requires the activation of presumably the dominant postal meaning, which is the primary meaning, whereas the antique typewriter was missing a letter requires activation of secondary sense for comprehension. So again, we see that dominance or frequency of usage of word are something which also cause ambiguity. In sentence 19, the context provides cues for the secondary meaning, and if we assume that primary meaning is accessible all of the time, then the response time should be relatively fast. Now, however, it is considered that in sentence 18, both context and meaning frequency point in the same direction. So, it may be difficult to find the second meaning of the word here. Hence, lexical ambiguity is the presence of two or more possible meanings within same word, and it is sometimes used deliberately to create some kind of pun or wordplay.